Once upon a time, there was an island called Berk, home to the Vikings. Their village had been around for 7 generations, and fishing and hunting were their daily routines. At first glance, they looked like they lived peacefully on the island, but every night the village had to survive the wild attacks of dragons that tried to steal their livestock. There was this guy named Stoick the Vast, the chief who led the village. He was the strongest, and with his physical strength, he could take down a dragon. Stoick had a son named Hiccup, who always dreamed of defeating a dragon so his dad would be proud of him and to get noticed by Astrid, a fighter girl he secretly liked. But unlike his dad, Hiccup was just a weak teenager, so Stoick always stopped him from joining any fights. Still, Hiccup secretly brought his modified weapon, hoping to take down the strongest dragon called Night Fury. Unexpectedly, Hiccup managed to trap the dragon and made it crash in a forest. He got carried away with his success and almost got himself killed, but luckily, his dad saved him first. Because of this, the dragons easily took their livestock. This made Stoick blame and scold his son. Plus, people looked down on Hiccup in front of Astrid, which made him want to prove he really did catch the Night Fury. But nobody believed him. Hiccup sneaked out to prove himself. Meanwhile, Stoick gathered his people for a meeting. He shared his discovery of a place that might be the dragon's nest. Stoick asked everyone to fight for the village's peace. To boost the team's spirit, Stoick asked for advice from the village elder, Gothi, whose prophecy convinced everyone that fighting was the right thing to do. At the same time, a veteran warrior named Gobber, who was also the blacksmith, mentor of the young warriors, and Stoick's advisor, convinced Stoick to let Hiccup join dragon training. Gobber seemed to be the only one who believed Hiccup could become a real Viking one day. Now, Hiccup was in the forest at Raven Point, right where the dragon fell. He followed the broken trees until he finally found the dragon. Hiccup pulled out his knife, trying to be brave enough to take the dragon's heart as proof. But when he saw the dragon's helpless eyes, Hiccup's conscience won. That almost got him killed, though. When he got home, Hiccup wanted to tell everyone what happened at Raven Point. This time, he decided not to fight the dragon, but to learn about it instead. But his dad thought differently, because he believed fighting was what Hiccup had always wanted. Stoick wanted Hiccup to join the dragon battle and gave him an axe, reminding Hiccup to be the Viking warrior he was supposed to be. So, the training they talked about? Turns out it's not just practice. It's an actual fight with dragons, kind of like those battles in the Roman Colosseum. When Hiccup showed up, Astrid and her squad, Fishlegs, Toughnut, Roughnut, and Snotlout, were all there. And honestly, they just kept roasting Hiccup the whole time. Gobber had to step in and give the young warriors some advice.
Just a few of them.
Their opponent? A mid-sized, boulder-class dragon called Gronkle. Astrid totally crushed it in the arena, showing off her skills. Meanwhile, Hiccup barely survived Gronkle's attack. He almost got wiped out until Gobber finally stopped the fight. Feeling super down about himself, Hiccup went back to the woods. There, he accidentally found Night Fury near a lake. Night Fury couldn't fly like before, and Hiccup realized its tail was broken, so the dragon couldn't move around freely anymore. When Hiccup dropped his pencil, Night Fury noticed him, but didn't do anything. That night, Hiccup brought a dragon book to study, but Astrid caught him and told him that a warrior's job is to destroy dragons, not to understand them. She even questioned whose side Hiccup was really on. From the book, Hiccup learned about different types of dragons, but there was nothing about Night Fury in it. Meanwhile, Stoick and his crew started an expedition, but they got ambushed by a bunch of dragons. Back at dragon training, the young Vikings, including Hiccup, had to face a traitor-class dragon called Deadly Nether. Again, Hiccup struggled, and Astrid had to cover for him. Astrid and her friends worked together, showing how talented they were. Still frustrated, Hiccup went back to where Night Fury was. This time, Hiccup brought a fish as a peace offering. Night Fury actually shared the fish with him, and even though Hiccup felt sick, he ate it to get closer to the dragon. But when Hiccup tried to touch Night Fury, the dragon got super mad. Later that night, Night Fury got curious about Hiccup not coming home. When Night Fury saw Hiccup drawing his face, the dragon started drawing too. When Hiccup accidentally stepped on Night Fury's drawing, the dragon got annoyed, so Hiccup tried to approach him again, careful not to step on the drawing. That simple move, reaching out without any bad intentions, made Night Fury start to trust him a little. That night, the young warriors hung out with Gobber, who explained that dragons can't fly without their wings and tails. Without flying, it's basically game over for them. Hearing that, Hiccup decided to build a fake tail fin, a prosthetic, hoping it would help Night Fury fly again. The next day, Hiccup brought a bunch of fish to Night Fury. While Hiccup was putting on the new tail fin he made, Night Fury actually managed to fly again, even though he was flying all over the place with no direction. That's when Hiccup realized that with the fake tail, Night Fury couldn't fly on his own. He needed someone to control it. Spending more time together, Hiccup learned all kinds of new tricks to handle different types of dragons. From then on, Hiccup gave Night Fury a name, Toothless, because of his teeth. They started training together every day. After hanging out for a while, Hiccup realized that dragons weren't really a threat. For him, humans and dragons should be able to live side by side. With all this experience, Hiccup got way better at his training, but instead of fighting dragons, he tried to tame them. He even got Zippleback to chill out with eels, something dragons usually hate. He tamed Gronkle easily and led Terrible Terror around like it was a kitten. Hiccup even took down Deadly Nether without any real fight. Seeing how good Hiccup was, Astrid's squad started to respect him, which made Astrid kinda jealous. Hiccup's way of beating dragons was nothing like a typical hooligan warrior, and that made Astrid suspicious. She secretly followed Hiccup, but ended up losing his trail. On that same day, Stoick and his crew came back empty-handed. They still couldn't find the dragon nest. But Stoick's face changed when he heard about Hiccup's awesome skills. He finally acknowledged Hiccup and gave him a gift to show he was a true Viking. The next day, Hiccup and Astrid had to compete to see who deserved to fight the Gronkle in the final match. Before Astrid could even do anything, Hiccup beat the dragon his own way, which made Astrid super annoyed. It was obvious Hiccup didn't even want to win like that. Still, Astrid kept following him until she finally found out Hiccup's secret. Hiccup tried to convince Astrid and Toothless that they were all on the same side, but Astrid didn't believe him right away. So Hiccup offered Astrid a ride on Toothless, and she finally gave in. That moment changed how Astrid saw dragons.
Then let's get this over with. Gently.
Suddenly, Toothless changed direction and joined a group of dragons flying to the real dragon nest, the place Stoick had been searching for all this time. That's when they found out why dragons kept stealing livestock from the Vikings. They were all being threatened by a giant dragon called the Red Death. Astrid wanted to tell Stoick, but Hiccup stopped her because he was afraid the villagers would capture Toothless. After hearing Hiccup out, Astrid finally believed him and promised to keep his secret. Then came the big moment. Hiccup had to face the monstrous nightmare in front of everyone. This time, he wanted to show them that dragons weren't as bad as they thought. But Stoick's shouting made the dragon go wild. Hiccup's cry for help reached Toothless, who rushed in to save his best friend without thinking twice. Toothless's arrival caused chaos, and Stoick and his crew ended up capturing him. Hiccup tried to explain everything to his dad, including the real location of the dragon nest, but Stoick decided to use Toothless as a guide to find the nest. Stoick was super disappointed, thinking Hiccup cared more about dragons than the family, especially since a dragon had taken his wife's life. Stoick even said Hiccup wasn't his son anymore. Stoick and his crew wasted no time and headed to the dragon nest, bringing Toothless along. But Hiccup didn't give up. He gathered his friends and used the dragons in their village as allies to follow Stoick to the nest. When Stoick and his crew arrived, they immediately launched rocks that cracked open the nest. Hundreds of dragons flew out, and then the Red Death unleashed its fury after being disturbed. The giant dragon totally shocked Stoick. He instantly realized this beast was way out of their league. But what surprised him even more was seeing Hiccup, right in front of his eyes, leading the young squad while riding a dragon. Hiccup dashed straight to the boat where Toothless was being held, trying to set his best friend free. While Hiccup's friends tried to distract the giant dragon, the monster's huge foot swept Hiccup and Toothless underwater. Out of nowhere, Stoick showed up and saved them both. In that moment, Stoick apologized to his son for everything he'd said, finally admitting that Hiccup was a true Viking, a real warrior who carried the future of their whole village. Together, Hiccup lured the giant dragon away from the villagers. An epic battle broke out in the sky. The other warriors could only watch, putting all their hope in Hiccup because there was nothing else they could do. The fight was so intense that Toothless's fake tail fin caught on fire, giving them only a little time left to stay airborne. With perfect timing, Toothless spun around and blasted fire straight into the giant dragon's mouth. The explosion sent Hiccup flying, and Toothless rushed to save him. When it was all over, Stoick was heartbroken, thinking he'd lost his son. But Toothless proved him wrong. He'd protected Hiccup just in time. When Hiccup woke up, he was back home with Toothless loyally by his side. Hiccup had to accept that he'd lost one of his legs in the battle, but he quickly forgot his sadness. As soon as he opened the door, he saw something he'd never seen before: humans and dragons finally living together in peace.
Scaring me. Okay, is it? And that's